Jai Hind students, this is Vivek and you all are welcome to once again in this class. In the previous class we discussed Vignet on my childhood, and in this class we shall see the text. So let us see what is given in the text. So before you read, there are certain points. Let us see what are these. The first one is, can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen, means political leader? Okay. So if you know anybody who was also a scientist or is any scientist and also a political leader, please write on in the chat box. Next is APJ Abdul Kalam, whose project in space, defense and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century. So that I was telling you in the previous class, that he gave missile to the nation, and for that he was accredited, means awarded or honored with the president post. Okay, he was made president because he had given something to the nation which is extraordinary. Okay, and that is nuclear power. Earlier we were not having nuclear power. Now our country is also nuclear power in the world. Okay, and there are only few countries in the world who are having nuclear power. Okay, almost means about six. Okay, out of 100, means approximately there are 100 or about 100 countries. Some countries are not considered countries, so it is not counted 100. Okay, but there are approximately six countries who are having nuclear power, and India is one of them. And this proud is brought to us by Honorable Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and whose project in space, defense, and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, and became our 11th president in 2002. So he became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography, in Wings of Fire, that we read in the previous class, Wings of Fire is his autobiography. Autobiography means that you write on your own. Okay. Uh, about yourself. So that is autobiography. So APJ Abdul Kalam has written his autobiography in Wings of Fire. He speaks of his childhood. Okay, and our story is also about his childhood. In fact, this story is a part of his autobiography, Wings of Fire. Okay, children. So let us see what is there. In the first paragraph, you will find that he says, I was born into a middle class Tamil family, okay, in island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile, means former Madras, okay, Madras state. Now it is called Chennai. Okay, so my father Janul Abdin had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Means neither he was having formal education as we are having. We visit school, so we are having formal education. But his father was not having any education like that. Okay, nor he was having much wealth, means money. He was not having any silver spoon in his mouth when he was born. Okay, despite this disadvantage, he possessed, means he was having great innate wisdom. Innate means something which is inborn, which is not received from outside. It is innate wisdom. Wisdom means knowledge. Okay, and true generosity of spirit, means he was, generosity means kindness, spirit is soul. So he was, by his soul, by his heart, he was kind, and he was truly kind. There are some people who are kind for a moment, for some people, but he was a generous person. He was a kind-hearted person, because such persons are kind to all of the people equally. Okay, so he was a man of generosity. Okay, he had an ideal helpmate, means wife here, in my mother Ashiamma. Okay, his mother's name was Ashiamma. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day. We read in the last class that she used to feed many people every day on regular basis, and it does not happen with everybody. Means it is not possible for everybody to feed outsiders every day. Is it possible for you? Is it? Can anybody? No, I think it is not easy. If it is possible for you, for your family, please write down in the chat box and tell me that it is. Yes, it happens in your house. So here he says that, but I am quite certain, means he knows, he is sure that far more outsiders ate with us. Means not only his family members were eating at home, but outsiders were eating as well. And all the members of our own family put together, and the outsiders who were sitting together with the family members. Okay, let us see in the second paragraph, children. Here it is written, I was one of my many children. And there were many children who were living in the house, but he was one from many children. A short boy, means among his family, he was a short boy with rather undistinguished. Undistinguished means not having any special thing. Looks. Undistinguished looks. Means his look was not any special. Born to tall and handsome parents. He means his parents were tall and handsome, but he was not having that personality. Okay, he was a short. And next is, children, we lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of 19th century. So his house was quite old. Okay, in the middle of 19th century it was made. So it was a fairly large pakka house. Okay, made up of limestone. It is also given. It may also be asked in short answer questions what the house was made up of. Okay, where APJ Abdul Kalam used to live. So it was made up of limestone and brick on the mosque street of Rameshwaram. This may be a question where the house was located. Next is my father. He writes about his austere father. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. So austere father means simple, strict, serious. Here severe means here serious. Okay, so he was serious, strict. Okay, and he used to avoid inessential comforts and luxuries. Okay, so there are certain people who think that the luxurious item like air conditioners, washing machine, refrigerator, oven, geyser, or luxury car, these things are not important. Some of the people think, and please write down in the chat box how many of you think that your father is also an austere. Okay, who is simple, strict, and severe, means serious here. Okay, so next is, however, all necessities were provided for. Means though he was avoiding inessential comforts and luxuries, but the necessary things were sufficiently available to them. Okay, it was provided to them in enough amount. Okay, in terms of food, medicine, and cloth, it is cloth. The children, be careful that this is cloth. Okay, not cloth. Cloth is something which is not stitched, and when it is got stitched, as we are putting on, we have put on VA, so it is called cloth. CLOTHES, clothes. Okay, next is, in fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. Means in the materially and emotionally, on both the grounds, he was treated very well in the family. Okay, there are many um people in the family, and the youngest, the most young one, are generally loved by everyone in the family. So they always get benefit of being younger, and they are provided with all material and emotional love. Okay, so in the way it was happening to APJ Abdul Kalam. Children, let us move to the next page here. Next is there, the third paragraph. It is written, the Second World War broke out in 1939. Okay, in 1939, the Second World War broke out. Okay, when I was 8 years old, and by the time he was only 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand. Means since he was a child, he could not understand that a sudden demand of for tamarind seeds erupted. Means came forward in the market. Okay, increased. Why suddenly the demand of tamarind seeds was there in the market? He could not understand. These seeds are required for the missile making or some sort of ammunition making. Okay, so because he was a childhood and he had no idea of it, so he could not understand. But what happened, that I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision, means general, shop, provision shop on Mosque Street where he used to live. A day's collection means whatever he was collecting in a day, whatever number of seed or amount of seed he was collecting, would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Princely sum of means he was very happy that he is having too much money. 1 anna was really too much for him. Okay, as 100 rupees or 1000 rupees or 500 rupees would be too much for you today. Some of the students will say 100 rupees or 50 rupees is too much for me. So similarly, the then time means in the previous time where APJ Abdul Kalam used to live, there 1 anna for him was a princely sum. Okay. Next to this is, children, he said my brother-in-law Jalaluddin. So this may be a question. Who was his brother-in-law? Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Means he was also writing, though he was too young, but even then he was writing articles in the uh, headlines in the magazine, whether it is a newspaper. Dina Money, its name was. So there he was putting headlines. Okay, and where he was fetching these headlines from? From his brother-in-law Jalaluddin. So this may be a question in exam. Okay. Next is our area being isolated means his area where they used to live was isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. Okay, you know, when the things happen in the states or in the cities, so it does not make very much impact on the villages. Okay, as today due to pandemic all the things are closed, but it is not having very much impact on the villages. Okay, yeah, it has impact on the villages because everything is associated today, but it is not having as much as impact as it is having in the city life. Okay, so there, the World War, the restrictions due to Second World War, which was there in the city, in the country, had not very much effect in the village by the time. So next to this is, children, he said, but soon India was forced to join the Allied forces. Okay, means Indian Army was also asked to join the World War, and something like a state of emergency was declared, and there emergency was declared then. Means it was not absolutely declared in officially, but it was like that. Okay, and the first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. Means that was a casualty, means that was something they traveled with due to Second World War, and that was that the trains were not supposed to stop on all the stations. Only the trains were stopping at the major stations only. Means halt means stoppage. So the halt or the stoppage of the trains were to happen only at the major stations. Now the problem was that at these small stations, the passengers were bounded to get down only where the station train is stopping. Okay, so that was the problem. Next is the newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram. Why they were throwing the newspapers? Because the trains were not stopping at the at all the stoppages. So where the trains were not stopping, there the people were throwing their newspaper bundles because they had to get down there at the stoppage, and at that stoppage, means at many stoppages, the rail was the train was not stopping due to the restrictions uh, imposed due to the Second World War. So the road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi, so that is the place where the train uh, had been coming through. The next is, children, that forced my cousin Shamsuddin. So this may come in exam that who was his cousin. Children, never say cousin brother or cousin sister. Whenever you say cousin, always take name after it as it is given in the text. Okay. So because the trains were not stopping at his stoppages, his stoppage or the common stoppages, so they were forced uh, to throw the newspaper bundles, and then some people were required to collect the bundles thrown at the stations. So his brother, his cousin Shamsuddin told Kalam, please help me and I will give you some money. So what happened there? Listen. That forced my cousin Shamsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, means to take up the bundles, and as if naturally, I lifted the slot. So means he used to start means lift the bundles, newspaper bundles, and take over to the place where he was supposed to. And Shamsuddin helped me earn my first wages, means in the way he used to earn some money. Okay, how he was earning money? By lifting up the newspaper bundles which were thrown by his cousin from the train. And why the newspapers were thrown from the train? Because the newspapers because the trains were not stopping at his stoppage. Okay, because many stoppages were suspended due to Second World War. So this may come in the examination. Please be careful of it. Next is half a century later. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride. Okay, means the moment, the inner feeling that he could feel. So after half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. Okay, means even after long time, even after that period of time, he was happy that he had ever done something which brought him some money. Now let us see the fourth paragraph. Let me check the time. We have 15 minutes. Okay, so we can go for the next paragraph, children. Here is the fourth paragraph. It is written here that every child is born with some inherited, means something that you perceive from your parents is called inherited characteristics. You would have means observed, if you have observed ever what characteristic you have inherited from your parent, please write down in the chat box, as it is written here that every child is born with some inherited characteristics. If you believe, if it is correct, please write down in the chat box and write what quality do you inherit from your, have you inherited from your parents. Okay, next to this is, children, into a specific social, economic and emotional environment. Okay, he is stating the environment that he had, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. I inherited honesty. So this is what sort of environment he is stating he had. What he had, specific socio-economic and emotional environment, that this was given by his parents to APJ Abdul Kalam, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. Okay, means he was taught, means what do you have, what quality do you have, what do you possess, what authority do you have, that was taught by his parents. Okay, he further says that I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. So these are the qualities which generally come in examinations. These are the things which are asked in the examinations. What are the qualities that he had inherited from his father? Okay, so do highlight it. Okay, when you write down in the notebook. In questions and answers, because this question is extremely important from the examination point of view. Next is, children, uh, here, and self-discipline from my father. These are the things, honesty and self-discipline. There are basically two things that he is talking about from his father that he has inherited. Okay, that he had. From my mother, he is also saying about his mother. Please take care. I inherited faith in goodness. Faith in goodness means many of the people think that goodness is nothing. If you are becoming good, if you are becoming, means simple or true, there are people who are ready to bluff you, means cheat you. Okay, there people have mentality like that. If you are simple, if you will be very like Sharif kind of boy or girl, there you will be cheated by anybody. But he was not having this idea, because he had inherited from his mother that faith in goodness means if something is good, you must have faith in that. Okay, and deep kindness. And so did my three brothers and sisters. Means his three brothers and sister had also inherited the same thing. I had three close friends in my childhood that he is talking about is really important because, uh, in fact, this is the core of this story. What he is talking about, he was having three friends. Let us see who they are: Ramananda Shastri, Arvindan, and Sri Prakashan. Okay, they are. I must highlight these names because questions are generally asked in the examinations about their friend. So next is all these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. Okay, Orthodox means those who have narrow mind, old ideas, ideology. They believe in the things which are not scientifically proven, or we do not believe that it happens. Okay, so they are called Orthodox. So the boys were from his friends Ramananda Shastri, Arvindan, and Shri Prakashan was from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. Okay, and he was a Muslim child. As child, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because our religious differences and upbringing. So there they were having such an upbringing that they had never felt any differences in their childhood. This is very important point. Okay, that was the reason that they were means close friend. Okay, because such an upbringing means their childhood, their means their teaching was the way they were taught, the way they were guided. So they were mm, getting the harmonious thing, and they had never uh, found any differences between different communities. Okay, that was the thing he is talking about. Next is, in fact, Ramananda Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri. This Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, perhaps this Pakshi word is not written in the vignette that we had discussed. So Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. He was the high priest of Rameshwaram temple. Later he took over the priesthood of Rameshwaram temple from his, let me scroll the page. This is the figure of the occasion they used to celebrate. Okay, there it will come in the lines further. Okay, as we have many uh, festivals, okay, like Ganesh Chaturthi and others, Durga Puja. So in the way they were having festivals, celebrations, and the Brahmins here were having these, and the Muslims were also having they together. So it is shown here. The harmony is shown in this figure. The example that I was showing you in the vignette with the figures, in fact, the better figure is given here in the text, which is showing the harmony in the figure. Okay. So next to this is father. The line is here. Later he took over the priesthood. Means his friend, name of his friend Ramananda Shastri. He took a priesthood. Okay, of the Rameswaram temple from his father later. Okay, and Arvindan went into the business of arranging transport. Okay, Arvindan become businessman in the transport. And next is for visiting pilgrims. His means transport business was for visiting pilgrims, and Shiv Prakashan, his another friend, became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. Okay, in the next paragraph, you will find that during the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony. So this is what the story I was talking about. Here it is described. So this is the occasion, Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony. Our family used to arrange boats with the special platform for carrying idols of the Lord Rama, uh, Lord from the temple of the marriage site, not Lord Rama, from the uh, marriage sites. So that was the occasion where at the marriage site the uh, idols were carried, and then it was submerged in the river or in the ocean, and for that they needed some boats. Okay, and these boats were arranged by the family member of APJ Abdul Kalam. So that shows harmony. Okay, even Muslims and Hindus were quite close together. There was nothing sort of communal rights or differences. Okay, but today, see, I think that the past was better. Okay, today the poison is, you know, uh, there everywhere, which are being thrusted by people through social networking sites. Okay, and we must understand that these poisons are to separate people, and these are political things. So we should never fall in these differences which are created between different communities. Okay, we should understand, and if you listen the things in the newspaper, in the news, and read the newspapers regularly, so you will understand that all these communal activities are political, means planted. So never believe in these things, and never support any special community. Just love your community, love others community, and promote harmony in the country. Okay, and children, next is here, huh, it is situated in the middle of the pond called Rama and Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Okay, so that was the Tirth sort of thing, and his family. The main thing is that his family was arranging boats. Though he was from Hindu family, but his family was arranging boats, and they were giving their cooperation, okay, and their presence in the celebrations or ceremonies of Hindus. Okay, events from the Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. So these are the things, means the stories were being told from the prophets or the Ramayana by his grandmother, sorry, Grandmother was narrating these stories to him in the bedtime. Okay. In the next paragraph, you will find that. One day when I was in the fifth standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came. This is the thing which is a bit different and has means important place in question paper for some reasons, because there was somebody who tried to uh, impose his ideology, and that was not good. Okay, so let us see what ideology he was having. Actually, he was narrow-minded and having orthodox mentality. So let us see what had happened. What was the incident? What happened with the APJ Abdul Kalam? One day, when I was in the fifth standard at Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class, and next, I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim. You would have seen Muslim used to put a cap. So that is their way of living. So that was marking that he was a Muslim. So that was not any bad or odd thing. Okay. But what happened? And I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Shastri. He used to sit with his friend Ramananda Shastri, who wore is the second form of wear, who wore the, see, this is the boat his family used to arrange for the ceremonies, and it is showing harmony. So this is another figure which is showing harmony. Means his friend Ramananda Shastri was having a sacred, means pious thread. You know, Brahman used to put a thread. So he was having his friend, APJ Abdul Kalam's friend was having a thread, and the new teacher could not stomach, means bear, could not tolerate a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, means as per our social accordance, means as per our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. So there, when his new teacher saw that APJ Abdul Kalam, a Muslim boy, is sitting with a Hindu, so he said, APJ Abdul Kalam, please go and sit at the back. And then I felt very sad, and so did Ramananda Shastri. Means Ramananda Shastri was also sad on this. He looked utterly downcast, means absolutely sad, depressed. And I shifted to my seat in the last row. And then he went to the last place as he was instructed by the teacher. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. Means when APJ Abdul Kalam was sitting at the back, as he was said, So his friend Ramananda Shastri started weeping, or he was having such a face which was appearing that he is weeping. And so that made an impression on APJ Abdul Kalam, that how much sympathy his friend is having for him. The next paragraph is, children, let me see how many paragraphs are left. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And let me see how much time do we have. So time is over, children. And I think that we should do these portions in the next class. Okay. And I will ask you a couple of questions in the next class, whatever you have read. And I will say that do read these lines that we have discussed in this class, because it will help you to answer the questions in the next class. I hope you would have liked the story so far, but the most important incident, that is just in its verge beginning, is still to be finished. So please be careful about the next class and do attend. So for now, that's all. Have a nice day. Thank you.